I'm going to try. I'm just doing my breakfast, my early morning routine, just kind of waking up, to be quite honest with you guys. And people want to see the routines that I do. So good morning. All right. The only thing that you didn't see on camera was me drinking my hydrogen water. Because I do that when I wake up, and then I come up here to make my morning smoothie. And like I said, not a lot of time today, but I thought I would at least turn on the camera. People want to see the routines because health is the greatest wealth. And it's really important, both obviously for your happiness, for those who are depressed and unhappy. And it's also really important for what's coming on a spiritual sense. It's actually extremely important. So it's good on both fronts. And right now what I'm doing is, this is actually super important. To me, this is absolutely foundational, and that's clean water. To me, water is actually, to me, sacred. It's extremely special. And you know, I got a microphone on. I hope it works. I hope somebody will tell me if it's picking up my voice, because these ones are new ones. And I'm not very tech savvy, so let's make sure it's working. Okay. So if you guys want to know how to clean water, cleaning water is not, microphone is working. Thank you. That's somebody named Not Work. When I saw your name, I thought, oh, it's not working. So this is how you truly clean water. You have to go through the process of carbon distillation. Now, you can avoid the carbon part if you're using reverse osmosis water, which I am. I'm putting reverse osmosis in there, and that's going to prevent me having to use the carbon part. But basically, I have to filter twice in different methods in order to get the water actually clean, which is obviously the goal. Because if you knew what was in water, if you knew what I knew, it would be a problem. And let me grab one of these. I like these ice packs in the morning, as crazy as that sounds. All right, let's get rolling here, because today, not a ton of time. But you guys can ask questions if you want. Otherwise, I'm just going to ramble and do my thing. So I just harvested the water that I made last night. And this is a carbon distiller for people who want to know. Let's see right here. It's from mypurewater.com. If you want a coupon, you can use the code UPRISING144K. Why? Because that's the best way to clean your water. I've looked at all the lab reports. I've looked at every single water filtration modality, guys. And I'm telling you right now, if you want to improve your life, you need clean water. You just do. It's too fundamental for health. And not just health, but again, mental health is going to be every part of, quote unquote, spirituality, your connection. This is the whole reason that they want to pollute this world so bad. It's to both make you sick. It's got dual purpose, and they are smart. You got to give them that. They're very smart. Okay, so this is filling up right now. It's almost there. It takes about 3 to 6 hours to truly purify your water. And we're not talking about just removing fluoride and pharmaceuticals and PFAS and chlorine. Those are not the only things. Some of the bigger stuff that most water filters just can't do. There was even a lawsuit because a lot of companies claimed that they could, and it turned out that it wasn't true, which is getting rid of all the bacteria in the water, viruses in the water, parasites in the water, just all sorts of nasty, basically pathogens, actually. So pathogens. So I'm going to put this in the carbon distiller, which I guess you can't see because I can't move the camera around. But it's not the most complicated thing in the world. In fact, I just slide that thing in here, and then I just hit the switch, and there it goes. It's going to clean my water. It takes 3 to 6 hours. But now, since that is happening, let's move on to the next phase of my morning protocol. Because another thing, it's funny, some people were asking me, they're like, wait a second, how often do you make this smoothie? You know, they think I make this healthy smoothie like, I don't know what they think. I think they were thinking like, do you do it once a week? Do you make it twice a week? Do you make it 3 times a week? I make it every single day. It's my breakfast. So, hydrogen clean water every morning, guys, because the body has a 7-year cycle, just so you know. And then right now I'm using purium powder. This is for nutrients. Every ingredient in it is very, very pure since it's from purium. In fact, the website for all those who want to know what I'm using is ishoppurium.com. And I use something called Power Shake. That's the one I'm putting in here. Why? Because I don't use multivitamins. If you can believe that, I don't take multivitamins, and yet I don't have deficiencies, which the doctor who tested my blood was like, that's just not possible. She thought that was impossible. And that's because our food is so deficient that this powder that I buy was actually designed to be a meal supplement, like to supplement your like dinner or something. But the thing is, I don't just use it like that. I use it in combination with other things, specifically fiber. Fiber is super important. Now I'm going to put some, you don't have to, but I'm going to put 100% green matcha, Japanese green matcha. Super good for you. Thanks for all the thumbs up. Oh yeah, and if you guys have questions, you can ask while I'm here, because I'm not going to be here very long today. I'm going to do my normal routine. This is what I would do whether anybody was watching or nobody is watching. Either way, doesn't matter. This is how I live my life, and this is what I did in order to overcome some very serious medical problems. Clean water, hydrogen, and proper nutrients. As crazy and as simple as that may sound. Now I'm going to put 100% turmeric or turmeric, depending on how you want to pronounce it. In fact, turmeric root organic. I mean, that's it. There's no other ingredients. One of the things that I do, one of my methods in order to make sure I can get the best food. Look, all the food is polluted pretty much these days, but you try to get the purest form because that's what the body needs, and you don't want to get contaminants. And the best thing that I do is simple ingredients. And what I mean by simple ingredients is there's just one ingredient. Like the turmeric, you look at the ingredients, it's just turmeric. The green tea matcha, it's just green tea matcha. You want to get simple ingredients because that keeps them from pulling shenanigans with your food. When you buy a lot of these foods with all these ingredients in them, that's when I stopped trusting. So this one's flax seeds. A lot of health benefits of flaxseed, lots of good fats, omegas, proteins, and really good properties to them in regards to being like anti-cancerous, anti-parasitic, stuff like that. You don't have to use this exact recipe per se. I don't even know how to call it a recipe, but a lot of people have been calling it a recipe lately. And so I don't know if I would necessarily call it that, but I just kind of eyeball it, kind of make it however I'm going to make it. And I just realized, wow, I got a lot of raisins today soaked. I'm going to leave one for tomorrow, and I don't have any soaked nuts today. I guess I must have forgotten to do that. That's interesting. Okay, so after I put the powders, let's go with the super greens. Do I have any super greens? Yep. Okay, so we're going to go with super greens next. So one thing that people don't realize about health, there's a lot of things, honestly. And I'll tell you right now, look, I've seen a lot of people online. Everybody has their own opinion, which is, I mean, that's fine. It doesn't bother me. But in my opinion, it's not totally accurate because the truth is the truth. And sorry, but that's just the way it is. And so is there different ways that you can kind of eat to be healthy? Yeah, there's different things. And you can be unhealthy, one way or another, like somebody who's like, oh, well, I'm a vegetarian, therefore I'm healthy. No, there is such a term as what's called a garbage vegetarian. You're eating the wrong foods. I mean, you could eat a lot of fruits and vegetables that are full of pesticides, or you eat a lot of processed food like, oh, I eat vegan crackers or something. I don't know. And you could also eat meat and be healthy. But obviously the only issue with meat is, and I know a lot of people have a hard time with this one, but remember, I'm a data guy, so I go off the data, and the body needs time to literally digest it and break it down. And when you overconsume it, then you get what's called undigested proteins floating in your blood, and it's just kind of dirty. It's so funny. I got a composting. I got a little funny story for you guys, because I was just doing the compost the other day. I never have an issue with it. I always put the compost in, you know, all my stuff in there, never have an issue. Everything's fine. And then all of a sudden I go in there the other day because there's been a lot of company here. I rent a little room here. And all these people have been kind of in and out. And I've also been having family and all this stuff visiting and just different stuff. And I go to the compost bucket that I always use, never have an issue. And guys, I opened it and it was full of maggots. And I'm like, oh, what? Where did all these maggots come from? Like, what's going on? And you can imagine, I'll just let you imagine where they came from. Like, what would be so different that somebody would have put in there that would cause maggots? Where when I put the stuff I put in there, yeah, there's no maggots. And so, you know, these things make a difference. These are things to think about. But mostly diet is really most about purity and balance. That's pretty much what it is. If you're going to eat meat, it better be of high purity, which is really hard to find. But, you know, you want to do high purity and you want to do balance. But one thing that you definitely need, somebody was trying to argue with me the other day, and I tell you, I don't like to talk about diet because it's almost like talking about religion. It's just people lose their minds. But this particular person was being, you know, it was a very friendly conversation. So it all turned out okay. And this particular person was just basically implying that there's no need for fiber. The human body doesn't really need fiber, was their stance. Granted, I've seen the data on this, and the Japanese are actually coming out with, I think it's actually been something that's been like almost suppressed. They don't want you to know this because of how important, it's kind of like water. They don't want to talk to you about how important it is. They're like, oh, water's good enough. It meets the standards, you know, all the heavy metals and all the garbage in it. It's fine, it's within safe levels. And for me, it's like, no, I don't want you to tell me it's fine if it's within safe levels so that I won't die, but is it within safe levels so that my body can actually thrive and not get sick, you know? And so they try to just tell you, yeah, it's all good, you know? But anyway, I don't really trust all those numbers. I used to know a toxicologist, and he was hilarious because he was actually super unhealthy, and a lot of health issues, and yeah, and I liked him. He was a cool guy, but very unhealthy. And he just always thought that, you know, being a toxicologist, he was always like, oh yeah, that's not going to do nothing. Oh, that's not going to do nothing. You're within safe levels. But people don't realize that when we talk about these safe levels, you're talking about something that you might get a little bit somewhere else, and heavy metals and different garbage in different places, and it all adds up, and all of a sudden you're not at safe levels, you know? So that's just making that argument is, I don't know, kind of silly in my opinion. But by the way, oh, thanks for thumbs up again. All I was going to say is if you guys have questions about whatever you want, honestly, whether it's about water, health, you know, hydrogen, or whatever, people have different questions all the time. I get so many. It's funny, I try to do these lives to answer people's questions, but they seem to always want to email them. And I'm like, I'm here right now, you know, and usually for like a real consult, I have to charge for something like that, potentially, right? But when I do these, you guys kind of have me for free. So it's a good time to ask questions. So I'm washing the greens, even though they're already quote unquote washed. I always wash them anyway because I used to not. And then I realized sometimes I'd feel a little something and I could feel my immune system having to deal with something. And I realized I should be washing these. So I made that mistake before because it says triple washed. You think it should be triple washed. So let's see, what can we, I did release a video, a couple of them. If you guys see, there's a really great place I was invited to go to. And they're called like, I tend to get the name of their clinic confused. I think it's Just Hope. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Just Hope, but sometimes I think it's like New Hope, but I think it's Just Hope. And they're really, really nice there, and they have a lot of interesting equipment. Super good clean water, the best hydrogen, frequency machines, light therapy, you know, all sorts of stuff. And I made a video, but the video is so long. In fact, you guys comment below if you want me to release it because the video is like over half an hour long or something like that. It's really long, and it might be boring for a lot of people. So I was just releasing it in little bits, but then some people were commenting like, "Hey, where's the next part?" So if you guys want the full on video, let me know and I can release it. Otherwise, I'll just be releasing it in little bits. So this is the morning routine. I guess I could explain why. Some people might be like, why? I don't understand, why you're necessarily doing these things. Okay, Not Work says, do you add extra protein powder to your smoothies other than the Purium? Please release the video. So no, to be quite honest with you, this whole talk about protein, like, you hear it a lot. People keep saying, protein, you gotta have more protein. And to be honest, guys, that you're literally barking up the wrong tree. Like totally, I couldn't emphasize how much you're barking up the wrong tree if all your focus is on protein. And I'll explain why. It's actually really quite simple. I'm surprised that so many people fall for it. Well, actually, I take that back. I'm not surprised because people don't know, and it's nothing against them. They just don't know, and they don't study the subject. So I'll explain to you, because there's actual data that overconsumption of protein is not good for you. Actually, it actually can shorten your lifespan, if you can believe that. Protein is a vague term. When I say a vague term, is you're missing details. Because, like, for example, you look at certain products where they're like, ooh, whey protein. That stuff is terrible for you, in my opinion. I'm going to say in my opinion, so that way people, there's no arguments. But let me just say, to me, it's actually quite silly, like literally silly. So let me explain what you really need, because think about it. Does the body need protein? Of course. The body needs water too. The body needs minerals too. The body needs a lot of things. The body is like a house. And when I say a house, what does a house need? It doesn't just need, windows. It doesn't just need a roof. Houses are made of many components, and the body is like a house. And I'm putting my chia seeds in here. A lot of chia seeds also have, you can call it protein, but you need a well balance of omega-3s and 6s, basically. So everything in life is about balance. And this whole thing, what you really want is to overcome any nutritional deficiency. That's way more important than just thinking, all I need is protein. So overcoming every nutritional deficiency means every nutrient, every vitamin, every mineral. And by the way, I'm putting leftover watermelon. So I had to get together and I bought this really great Japanese watermelon. You see the Japanese watermelons are really good. And everybody was like, man, that's like the best watermelon I've ever had. And I said, yeah, it's not a normal watermelon. It's a Japanese watermelon. And so in order to overcome every nutritional deficiency, I'll tell you right now, it's really tricky. And I just realized I don't have blueberries. Let's see if this microphone reaches where I'm going right now. And if it doesn't, I apologize, but I got to go get this. So to overcome every nutritional deficiency isn't easy. And that's one of the reasons that they give you multivitamins. But even with multivitamins, and I'm going to pause right here for a second, because if the microphone isn't picking up, I don't want to be talking to myself here. So just give me a second till I get back. Oh, there we go. Missing that. Found something I needed. I'll tell you another thing that's really good for you, but I don't put it in the smoothies, but I do put them in my salads regularly, and that's organic sprouted pumpkin seeds. Highly anti-parasitic, by the way, and really rich in the kind of magnesium and potassium that you actually want. And of course, they have zinc and copper. I mean, they have all sorts of good stuff, but all these things, what you don't realize is that these things can actually be heavy metals too. I don't think people are realizing that there's a difference between, I'll just call it like a difference between organic and inorganic minerals. They're not all the same. And some of them are, again, heavy metals, and then some can actually be good for you. Like, I want to get my iron from my food. I don't want to suck on a piece of metal to get my iron. And so here is, and you want them paired with fiber. That's the way this whole thing works. If you don't believe me, that's fine. But just look at the way, quote unquote, nature and the way God works. And I say God, but in the sense of like, well, the creator of all things, whatever you may believe, actually. Everybody has their own beliefs. But the point is, the way nature does things. If you look at an apple, you know, fruit, vegetable, they're full of fiber, they're full of minerals, they're full of antioxidants, they're full of sometimes like things called like phytonutrients. They're full of enzymes to help people to break themselves down. I mean, they're full of all these different things because it's a combination of things that where it really works beautifully. Now, if you really want some really healthy, you were asking about protein, and I have some right here. I could put it in today's smoothie. I was actually kind of debating it. If you guys want me to put it in, take a vote. Natto. Natto has almost the same amount of protein as beef, but it's a different type. It's a high quality protein. It's actually highly anti-cancerous. Whereas compared when you look at research, for example, about beef, if you look at some of the stuff in there, there's been studies to show that it increases, for example, the risk of colon cancer, right? But yet, beef is delicious, and beef can be eaten in healthy manners. Did you know even the order in which you consume things matters? I don't think people even realize that. You know, the problem is that America doesn't do that kind of research. For those of you who don't really understand or know the Japanese culture, by the way, this is Ginger. The Japanese are like really into health. They don't live as long as they do. I mean, they have the longest lifespan of any industrialized nation in the world. Now, they don't just live long because they're lucky, guys. If you were to go and see how they live, you'd realize very quickly why they live so long. They do a lot of things for their health. And look, health is wisdom. If you really wanted to understand wisdom, you'd go and see where people live the longest. And the Japanese are at the top of the list. And when you see how they do things, they are very wise. That's why they have like very low crime rate. That's why the people are so kind. That's why they're like obsessively clean. I think it's very important. Cleanliness is very important. And cleanliness is very important for health. You know, that's one of the problems even back in history with places that had all sorts of different types of diseases. You know, it's due to lack of cleanliness a lot of times. You know, I'll tell you, if you really want to learn about disease, it's a combination. It's really simple. It's either a lack of cleanliness or a lack of proper nutrients. So when I talk about nutritional deficiencies, there's clear evidence. This is why I'm surprised very few doctors talk about it. I've actually had to educate doctors on this, which is crazy because I've had a lot of doctors contact me for help for themselves or their families because they just run out of options. All they have is drugs. And, you know, let's keep going. Let's see if you guys, where you guys are at here. Somebody says, yeah, let's go ahead and put it in. Please release the full video. Yes. Okay, I noticed. Okay. Where do you get your natto from? Oh, you can go to Japanese food store, Korean food store, Chinese food store, any Asian food store. Now, see, here's the key. You're going to look at the ingredients because I look at ingredients for everything and they look really bad. And you're like, oh my God, I thought natto was good. The ingredients are this garbage here. And this is what I mean. I don't like these extra things. This is the raw material. This is just a fermented bean. So these go in the garbage. And then I take the fermented bean. And this is how you activate natto. I'm going to show you. This might quite possibly be the #1 superfood in the world. Or it's definitely top 3. This is one of the best there is. The Japanese have done so much research. And then this whole thing with natto kinase that everybody's been blowing up about, I've known about it for a long time. In fact, I'm actually the first person who called it out even before anybody, even before Dr. Peter McCullough, anybody in America understood, knew what it was. And the Japanese knew about it way before. So you activate it by stirring it. If you notice, it just looks normal. And then you got to stir it. And the data shows you want to stir it at least 100 times. Because what it does is it's beginning to activate. It's starting to activate all these good bacteria, the enzymes. It's all starting to actually breathe. They're literally starting to breathe oxygen, and they're coming to life. And then as they come to life, you can actually see it. I can see it. It begins to foam up. And so you want to activate it. You don't just pour it in there. Now, yes, this has a massive amount of protein, but it also has a lot of good fiber. It has a lot of good, again, good bacteria, good enzymes. It's a combination of a lot of things. Highly anti-cancerous. It actually thins your blood, so it actually works as what they call a natural statin. Way better, though, in my opinion, than actual statins, because not only does this not have the negative side effects potentially of a pharmaceutical drug, and remember, I'm not giving you medical advice. Consult your physician's guide. I'm not making any claims for organs, any products, all this stuff, you know. But I'm just telling you my opinions here. And, you know, my opinions on a lot of stuff that I've read. And I don't know if you guys can see how it's really foamed up now. And so now I didn't count. Normally I do, but since I'm on the here with you guys, I didn't count, but I can kind of eyeball it. And we're gonna put this there because everybody wanted it in there, so we're gonna do it. And I don't mind because it's really highly nutritious, super good for you. If you guys want to read data, you can easily Google it. Just say like, you know, natto studies for cancer, natto studies for blood pressure, for whatever you want, or just, you know, scientific health studies on natto. Not natto kinase. Natto kinase is an enzyme that is within this stuff. I'm talking about the actual natto, and I prefer to get it from food, as you guys know, the most natural way possible. If you get it from a pill, I mean, there is a company. Let's see. I think I've made a video where I showed the company that sells these like different types of enzymes, and they created a really nice mixture. They actually get their enzymes from Japan. Why? Because, hate to say it, they're making the best stuff. In fact, they were the ones who were doing all this crazy research on enzymes, and I was able to get my hands on these really special ones in Japan. They're like super hard to get your hands on these, and they're kind of expensive. And I just had somebody who I knew, and they were like, "Hey, you want to try these?" And I was like, "All right." And I took them for a while, and it's a real special method. Again, the Japanese, they're doing it not thinking about the money. They're doing it thinking about how to do it the best way. And they literally have this gigantic container at the mountain. So it's over by the mountains. And all the enzymes they're making are from food. And guess what kind of food? Fruits and vegetables. And their enzymes look like a really dark paste. By the way, I'm putting beets in there now for those of you wanting to know the ingredients. Sorry that I have to rush today, but maybe talking a little fast, but I have some prior engagements. I have to be on time. So anyway, so I tried these particular enzymes that are made literally just from food. They're not even in like a dried capsule and stuff, which is fine, you know, dried capsules and all that. That's the norm. That's how most people do it. This particular company that has probably the best enzymes in all the United States. They're not the best in the world, but they're best in the United States, and they're pretty darn good. And if you guys want information on that, I think I have a video, or you can email me and I can try to get you the info if you guys really want the best stuff. And they made a really good combination of bromelain, which is, you know, bromelain, and what was the other one? The natto kinase, and they use a bunch of other stuff, but they source their stuff from Japan because they have really good enzyme technology. Like I said, the Japanese are they're next level. When it comes to health, they're really on a different level. And cleanliness. And not just cleanliness as far as their homes, you know, they take off their shoes, they open up all the windows every day to move the air. Not just those kind of things, which, by the way, they got some cool stuff over there. Like they have a closet, like a special closet. So when you put your clothes in the closet, I don't know if anybody's ever noticed how your closet can start smelling, right? If you ever go to somebody's house, like I go look at an open house sometimes, and people's closets, you know, smell funny because it's, you know, they have all their shoes and all their clothes in there. The Japanese have these special closets. So when I plan to move to Japan, I'll probably do this. You put your stuff in the closet, and it's a special closet, and it has like UV light and like certain filters and everything, so that it always smells clean and it doesn't smell funny, and just keeps, again, everything clean. Everything is about, I'm telling you, it's all about cleanliness. I don't know if people really, I hate to say, know that about Japan. The only example that the world sees, and it's so funny because they do it all the time, but I think it was during the Olympics when there was like some type of baseball game. And after the game, you know, honestly, I hate to say it, but I just saw it today on the news. When Americans have an event and they leave, they just leave all this trash behind. And what the Japanese did is they went and literally cleaned up after themselves. And then they left everything spotless. And it's part of their culture. You always want to leave things better than the way you found them. And to me, that's a beautiful thing. And to me, that is real love. That is love in motion. That is love in action. And to me, that's foundational. Foundational for whether it's spiritually or foundationally as a society. I mean, there's so many things. You know, I could go on and on about it, but it's a simple thing, but they really have. And a lot of that, by the way, comes from a guy named Kukai, who was like, I mean, I don't want to call him like a Japanese god, but kind of, but he like an enlightened being, if you want to call it. This guy was super smart, super wise. I'm really, and I had never heard of them. I mean, I literally found out by accident. I don't typically like to go too deep into the story of how that all happened because it's more on the spiritual front. And me personally, I don't have an issue talking about spiritual things. It's the reaction from people because, again, talking about diet seems like everybody gets mad. Politics, everybody gets mad. And then spirituality, or quote unquote, what some might even call religion, which, whatever, and everybody starts getting weird. And when everybody starts getting weird, it shuts down conversation and it shuts down even the unity. Like me personally, if somebody believes in something, I'm fine with it, you know? Even if I don't agree, I'm not going to get mad. I understand that everybody's in a different place and not everybody can see what I might call the truth, but the truth is, you know, but there's simple things that should be what I call obvious truths. And one of those is things like, should we be clean? To me, that's obvious. Sorry, you can agree or disagree or whatever, but to me, it's just obvious that you should be clean. To me, it's obvious that you should have to drink clean water, the cleanest water, if you want to be healthy and prevent disease. To me, it's obvious, you know, that the body needs not just protein, it needs all sorts of different nutrients. And I will say, this thing, does it have a lot of protein? Yeah, but it has a ton of nutrients. The only thing I didn't put in there today, because I just noticed that I didn't soak the nuts, and I could still put them in there dried. I tend to like to soak up the water in them. But since I'm using the natto, we'll see if there's any room. I might throw a few nuts in there. But I ate a lot of them yesterday. I love nuts. I have a ton of different combinations of nuts, from pistachios to macadamia nuts to walnuts to pecans to, well, of course, flax seeds. I mean, those are seeds, a little different than the nuts. Had a lot of mushrooms actually yesterday. Mushroom soup, by the way. What other nuts? I know I have more. I'd have to go and look. But, oh, I have those pumpkin seeds. I mean, they're kind of like nuts, but they're really seeds. And I put a lot of those in my salad every single day. You know, a lot of variety. That's the other thing. You don't want to just eat one thing. I hate to tell you that. Japanese say that a lot. That's why, you know, that lady who was kind of upset. Well, no, she wasn't upset. She was just disagreeing. You know, she's like, you could eat nothing but meat and be fine. And I'm like, that's just not true. The human body needs fiber. The Japanese, if you look at how they eat, man, they have a lot of variety, a lot of fiber, a lot of vegetables. They do a lot of vegetables in Japan. And the body needs fiber. If you've been tricked to believe that the body doesn't need fiber, yeah, you've been tricked for sure. Because it's one of the secrets. In fact, one of the people who does the blood work, when they just eat meat, they don't have all the proper nutrients. And there's also an electrolyte issue, but whatever, that's a whole other thing. Again, but it doesn't mean that you can't eat meat and be healthy. You just need vegetables, you know. Fruits are great too, but I shouldn't talk about that because that's what gets everybody all upset. So I'll leave that out of the way. And you know what? Hey, if you want to eat nothing but meat, you think I'm going to be mad at you? I'm not going to be mad. I'm not going to flip out about that. Are you kidding? To me, that would be very silly. Remember, it's your life. You have free will. You have free choice, kind of. As long as you pay for it, right? Pay for your free will. Or free choice or freedom. Yeah, pay for your freedom. It's kind of funny. But I'm going to put a few walnuts just for the heck of it. But yeah, you know, like I said, it doesn't bug me one bit. Why does it not bug me? Whether it's religion or your diet or whatever. Because you're the one living in that body. So if you want to eat whatever you want, hey, you're the one living with it, not me. So why would I have any say? And why would I even, no offense to anybody, but why would I care what you eat? I don't care. If you want to eat whatever you want to eat, you go for it, you know? I think it's actually kind of mean and rude when people get so upset at people. Some people get mad at people for eating meat, and some people get mad at other people for being vegetarian. And I'm like, you guys, this is so ridiculous. It's like if I were wearing red shirts or blue shirts or white shirts or whatever, and you're mad about the color of shirt that I'm wearing. It's like, why do you care? You know, live your life, right? I think love is more important than worrying about the color of somebody's shirt or or worrying about what food they're eating or even what they're believing, like quote unquote religion or whatever. It's like, why would just love each other already? You know, it's funny. That's one of the teachings of Jesus, right? Here, I'm gonna put in some hydrogen water in here. But it's funny because when Jesus was asked, what's the most important thing of all your teachings? He didn't say, well, make sure you all have the same religion. That's the most important thing. He didn't say, oh, the most important thing is that you give 10% to the church. The most important thing, like, he didn't say any of this stuff. He literally just said, the most important thing is that you love one another. You know, that's it. You know, so that's my opinion too. I agree with him. That's just my opinion on that particular thing, you know. All right, I'm sure there's, do you sprout the pumpkin seeds? No, they're already sprouted. Puridyme is enzyme company. Yeah, but I think I have a way where I can get you guys discounts if you want them. Hi, Greg. What is your opinion on salt? Many who eat raw living foods to not use salt at all. Oh, I use salt. The thing is about salt is, first, you want to use good quality salt. So I like to use Himalayan salt, Celtic sea salt, but don't fool yourself either and think, oh, well, you know, if I use this type of salt, it's all good. I can have as much as I want or whatever, because the problem is too, is these salts have good mineral content, but if you look at the ratio of salt to mineral content, you'll realize that they actually have a very high salt content and typically a lower mineral content. But I use it, but within reason. I don't try to get all crazy. And but yeah, I'm fine with salt. Are you kidding? Yeah, I don't mind that at all. I do use it in certain foods. You know, when foods need a little salt. My favorite actually, as far as like just flavor, I just like Himalayan salt. It's the one I like. I think it's so cool that it's pink. Isn't that weird? It's pink, and they have these beautiful salt mines. You know, it's kind of cool. So yeah, that's my opinion on salt. Okay, let's blend this up because today I'm running out of time. Actually, I'm going to let that soak a little bit. And I'm going to show you the last couple secrets because here's a real secret. You need proper hydration. That's why I drink super clean water with hydrogen in it in the morning. You guys didn't see that yet because I do that in the mornings and I don't set up the camera for that. The next thing is we need a lot of fiber, because the fiber is going to help us with mineral absorption, nutrient absorption. This has already been proven by the Japanese, and helping regulate blood glucose too on top of it all. And the reason that I know also that it works is because when I read these research studies, I put them into practice. So I actually have put it into practice, which is what I'm showing you right now. And I've had my blood work, and I've had a lot of that done. And I didn't just shock myself. I shocked the crap out of the doctors and even the technicians at the place that test the blood. And I thought it was funny because I didn't expect the results that I got. And I was, you know, you're trying to feel things out, you're trying to figure it out. And I'm telling you, fiber is amazing. And not all fiber is the same. So when you think, oh, I'm going to buy a fiber supplement, it doesn't work the same. The Japanese already showed that every fiber from every fruit, vegetable, nut, seed, bean, and different stuff, it all works differently. So we're going to learn more about it in the future because right now, like, nobody knows about that. And then I'm going to be adding, this is the only thing that I supplement because I don't do supplements, but vitamin D, you're just not going to get enough of it. It's just not going to happen. So vitamin D3 with K2 in its ionic form. So I'm going to be putting this in there. This is just something that I'm going to put in there. It's really good for hormones. You don't have to, but it's boron, another mineral. And this is good for hormones and stuff like that. Keep your, you know, healthy testosterone, healthy estrogen levels. Somebody says, hi, Greg. I was wondering if there are any of those spiritual places in the U.S. you are talking about that have to do with water. I mean, there is, but not. You have to understand that America never valued what they have in the sense of water, because otherwise, I mean, no offense to America, because I think America is great and all. I love the world, but we've polluted the water, so we don't seem to like value it as much as we could. Not that we don't, but we just don't value it as much as we could value it. Let me blend this sucker up and get going, and then I'll show you how I put the nutrients in. And this is going to be another one that I'm going to do. Somebody was asking about this. I'll answer this question too. I'm going to be putting hemp hearts. They're organic. Obviously, we always want to minimize pesticide consumption. Now, you want to talk about protein. The guy who was asking about protein, this quite possibly might be the most well-rounded protein in existence. because the balance of omega-3s and 6s are like virtually perfect. And yes, it has a lot of protein, but it's not just protein. Remember, I don't like things that are just like synergistic things is how the body works. The body's like got a matrix. And check this out. Look at the amount of nutrients in this thing. And all it is hemp hearts, one ingredient. I like simple ingredients, but the amount of minerals and nutrients is ridiculous. I mean, it's almost like a multivitamin in itself. We're talking from, you know, magnesium to zinc to copper to vitamin B6 to niacin to vitamin E to iron to calcium to just crazy amounts of stuff. And yes, it has fiber in it too. Natural, right? Everything the natural way, the way, in my opinion, God intended it. Why do I use the hydrogen in the, what is the name of the company for vitamin D3? Oh, it's the Concentrates Company. I have a video about it, and there's a link if you want, or you can just look it up somewhere online. And I put the hydrogen water in there because I found some research. You don't have to do that. It's just that I have hydrogen. I got a ton of it. I got a pitcher, and I can make so much of it with the machine I have. I found that it actually soaks into the food. So will you lose a lot of it? Yeah. Do I have to do it? No, but I believe it activates things within the food because hydrogen activates things within the body. It activates things within the soil. It activates things within literally the plants, and it activates things within the food. It's the source of all life, by the way. It's like the secret. It's the big secret. Let's go. I'm going to get this thing going. Now you can see if this is even going to blend because it's so full. And it's not. Uh-oh. Let's see if we can try this again. All right. Meanwhile, let's see if I can read some of your questions. There seems to be a lot of questions. I'm going to try to answer them here in a second, but I might have to go. We'll see how much time I have. Now, I will tell you that the Japanese think I'm crazy for putting natto in my smoothies. And you know, the reason I do these smoothies, guys, is because are you really going to consume all this stuff? It's going to be so hard for you to sit down and eat all the stuff that I just put in here. Is it the perfect way to, you know, to eat? I'm not going to say it's the perfect way, but it's better than the alternative. I mean, what else are you going to do, you know? And it's really worked. I mean, I got to say, blenders have been a godsend, you know, from the carbon distiller to that hydrogen machine is another godsend. You guys want to hear something crazy? I should make a video about this. You guys let me know if you want a video about this. I just got a message yesterday from somebody who had Parkinson's. And of course, you know, they try all these different hydrogen devices. It just doesn't work because people don't realize that how you produce it matters. So this particular person did finally get the right hydrogen. And I know they're a little spendy. People freak out. Oh, they're so expensive. They're not $20,000. They ain't $30,000. To be quite honest, I don't think people realize this. You're lucky that it even exists. I feel the same way. You know, it's you should be grateful that you even have the option. Because if it didn't exist, we'd be in big trouble. I've never seen a machine like this one that the Japanese created. So I'm thankful for it. Most of the stuff is just, dare I say, Chinese garbage. You know, I don't think they care about making a good product. They just make a product because there's a demand and they don't put the right effort into it. That's my personal opinion, right? And of course, it's based on the data. Like I look at the metals they use, I look at the membranes they use, whatever. But I don't want to get lost on that. Back to the guy with the Parkinson's. So this particular person could not walk. And they've been having obviously major problems. And I just got a message, and I think I got a little video. I would have to look it up and see if I can post it. He's not just standing, because he couldn't even do that. He's walking, guys. Freaking miracle. Like, freaking miracle. Okay? All these doctors and all their things, and they can't seem to, you know, help somebody with these type of problems. And I just look at this. I'm showing just basic stuff. Is this the most complicated thing in the world? Do you need billions and trillions of dollars of research? I'm not showing you anything really particularly crazy, but he's walking. And by the way, a lot of the people who know him and everybody who's witnessing this, And I've been doing this for years. I just don't have a big platform, so people don't know. But I've been trying to get the message out. But clearly, you know what the problem is you get the message out when it's all about money. That's what it comes down to, you know? The big companies that have all these garbage products where they make all these huge profits, yeah, they've reached out to me and they try to offer me money to promote stuff, but I'm not going to promote, I hate to say it, but I'm not going to promote their garbage. I'm not going to. I made a commitment, guys, and this commitment is actually to the people, to you, anybody who's listening. I will show you what the best is. I will not sell out. I will not compromise. Health is too important, and I just won't do it. So that's just the way it is, and that's what's up. Okay, let's keep seeing if we can answer your questions, see if I have any time here. The other reason I like the hemp hearts on the top, because some people are like, why don't you blend them into the blender? You want to chew. Chewing activates the digestion, and so everything's blended up. This is a liquid at this point, and so I want something that I can chew, and it gives it a good flavor and texture. Okay. Yeah, guys, I won't sell you guys out. I just won't do it. So only the best. And then that way it makes it simple for you guys. Okay, let's see all your questions and see if I can even answer them. We'll see how far we get here. Okay. So somebody wants the full video. Wow. And the location of the clinic. Okay. I'll do it. Natto tastes good today. Okay. Notwork says, I noticed in one of the last week's videos that you are taking perfect amino acid tablets. Why are you supplementing with that? Good question. Because I just did, and I released a video on it. I did a very unique, I'm the first person in the world actually, to do a combination of this hydrogen protocol that I created. So the hydrogen bands, and then I did stem cells, and the best stem cells. I found one of the top stem cell people, in my opinion, in the world. And it was really amazing. I was shocked. In fact, I'm not going to go into it a lot, but I was really, really surprised and shocked that I had a spiritual experience. That's not why I went in. It was wild for me. It was life-changing for me. But don't expect that, because my understanding is nobody's ever gone through that except for me. And so powerful, so beautiful. And when you have the stem cells in your body, this particular doctor is like, look, I have a whole regimen. So all these supplements I got a whole bag full of stuff, that she gave me. And she said, I want you to take all this stuff because the stem cells are working in your body. And so I'm like, okay, I'm just doing it because that's her protocol, following her protocol. But once I'm done, but she told me too, she said something very interesting. Her particular method, she said it works best when you take care of yourself, meaning that you're taking care of your health. You don't just go in and get stem cells and just keep eating Twinkies and hot dogs. And so the way that I take care of myself, from everything she's seen and saying, basically it appears that she probably has never had a patient like me. She's never had somebody who takes care of themselves like this and using the stem cells, and that's going to enhance everything. So I'm just taking them, just out of respect for her protocol. But yeah, I'll just do it, and then that'll be the end of that. Normally I don't do it. So hopefully that answers your question. Okay, moving on. Suzanne put, yes, put it in, and we did. We put in the natto. Where do you get the natto from? Asian food stores. When you look for the natto, make sure to see where it's made. Don't get anything from China if you can. That's what I would avoid it. The best ones would be the ones from Japan. And then if you can't find that, there are some made in America. Pre-Roda says, hi, Greg. What is your opinion on salt? Oh, wait, we already went through that. And then not work. And yes, Pure Dime. I'll try to get you guys discount codes. You can actually email. I don't think I have this person's email. Shucks. You can. There's somebody you can email that will help you with the whole thing. I think they give you a discount. I don't make any commissions of it, but it'd be nice for them to know where it's coming from, because they've given me a few free enzymes, and that's very kind. So I want them to know that where it's coming from. Let me see if I can. I shouldn't look for it. I can't find it. Forget it. I won't waste time on that. But watch the video that I have out there, or you can email me and I'll give you the information if you want me to get some form of credit or something. If what I mean credit is maybe they'll send me more enzymes. But I just want them to know that I'm sending people there. Did you sprout your pumpkin seeds? They're already sprouted. They're literally sprouted pumpkin seeds. Please get us a discount code for Paradigm. Okay. Yeah, and they don't seem to work with codes. I don't know what the deal is with that. But if you want me to get some type of credit, it'd be good because otherwise the company just keeps it all. So I'll find something to do. I'll probably just ask for product. And their product, I do like their products. Okay, Susan says, wow, I can't afford the hydrogen machine. Oh, yeah. Guys, look, we live in a crazy world that's crazy polluted. You're going to have to buy things. You're going to have to buy really good carbon distillers to clean your water. You're going to need to buy a blender in order to blend all this stuff up. You're going to have to buy things. You're going to need to make sacrifices. I've made a ton of them. It's up to you. However important your body is to you or whatever. You know, maybe don't buy that fancy dress. Maybe don't buy the fancy wheels for a car. I don't know. And I know life's tough, you know, but we're all having to go through it. And it's really sad. But, you know, if you want to get healthy, that's the price you pay, I guess. Luckily, like I said, it's affordable. All the stuff that I've needed was all under $10,000. All of it, from blenders to hydrogen generators to carbon distillers to nutrients, everything. And I think it's not that much. I mean, 10,000, it's less than 10, but that's a lot of money. But once you get a lot of these items, they're pretty much for life. Okay. Christiana, spiritual places in the U.S. that have to do with water. Well, the spiritual places are Lourdes, France, a place in Mexico called Tlacote, Mexico. There's a place in Germany. They discovered one recently. Where the heck is that one? I can't remember right now, but what you can look for in America if you want to find really like magical healing waters, which is to me important, is hot springs. Just look for hot springs anywhere near you. The only problem is this. Okay, I'm going to tell you the major problem. Going to a hot spring for a day or 2 or 3, that's great. It's healing, it's magical, but it's not going to totally change your life, guys. Just like drinking a smoothie or drinking hydrogen water for a day, it's not going to change your life. Your life has to be routine. You can't exercise for one day. You have to have a rhythm. You have to have routine. So, you know, that's the major problem. That's the reason. That's literally the reason why I need to move. You know, I need to move to where I can have access to the best water every single day. That's what's important to me. And there's a lot of different places in the world, you know, that I could choose to live, I guess. But again, to be honest with you guys, water and cleanliness are at the top of my list. And kind people, low crime rate, all that stuff. So, okay, moving on. Let's see where else. Okay. Liliana says, yes, make the video. All right. I bought the Kangen. Oh, no. Okay. And it's just sitting there now. I'm researching the Lourdes one. Oh, I'm so sorry, Liliana. Hey, I did the same thing. I got a Kangen that just sits there too. And it's so sad. The Lourdes Hydrofix is light years beyond the Kangen. You can actually inhale the hydrogen gas from it, which you can't do with the Kangen. When you make pure hydrogen, just so everybody knows, it's pH neutral. So anything that manipulates pH, in my opinion, is a problem. And a lot of devices do. And if you look at the medical research, you really don't want to do that. So that's another thing. And then the nano bubbles and the reliability. And you can put any water you want in the Hydrofix that you want to fill with hydrogen. The Kangen, you're literally forced to use tap water. It has to go through their filters. I'm not a fan of their filters because they're not good enough. Carbon distillation is good enough. And it's, you know what's crazy? It's cheaper to buy your own carbon distiller, so you have all the clean water you want, and your own hydrogen generator that makes both the water and the gas, and it's still cheaper than the Kangen. Oh, don't get me started on that Kangen. So sad. Okay, Notwork says, how often do you use the Lourdes Hydrofix to inhale and how? I do it almost every day. Almost every day. To be honest, I don't necessarily count the minutes. I mean, 90 minutes is a really good number. Best done before you go to bed, so nighttime. But inhalation, you know, I like to set it up next to like a computer, or when I'm doing stuff on the computer, when I'm watching a video, or typing something, email, whatever. That's when I do a lot of my inhalation, because you're just sitting there. And even right now, a lot of times I used to just inhale here. So I would sit here and inhale while I was having my smoothie. And I try to do it quite regularly. And then Susan says, your platform is about to explode. Well, thank you for that. But I've been doing this for, gosh, I don't even know how long. It's been like a decade. And some people call it the best kept secret on YouTube, but it doesn't help many if it's a secret. Okay, Nutwork says, thank you for staying true to quality. We appreciate the trust in your knowledge. Thank you for that comment. I really appreciate that. And I couldn't do it any other way anyway. You know, there's no way I could ever tell you guys that something is good when it's not, just for money. It would eat away at my soul. It's not worth it. So, you know, but it's been a tough road. I've been attacked a lot. Nobody wants me saying this stuff, and so I have to be really cautious about what I say and all this stuff. Anyway, Notwork says, have you heard of the water energizer? Oh, yes. There's a lot of water gimmicks out there. Tons of them. Curious if you have an opinion. You can install it in your home water pipe. I know. And it claims to restructure the water to be healthier for showering. Yes, I know about them. They make a difference. It's minimal. The real one, so the Japanese actually do have one of these. And it is the real deal. I actually have seen their scientific evidence, and it kind of blew my mind. But it's doing what you're talking about on a whole other level. Their design is so brilliant, and I haven't exposed it because they don't want me to right now. It's not even available to people anyway in America. It's only in Japan. But this thing, when I saw how they do it, I'm like, how did nobody ever think of this? Because it's brilliant. It's so brilliant. So maybe someday it will be brought to America, and if and when it does, I will tell you guys about it. And you know, maybe I could, I don't know. I don't want to get too deep into it right now, but the one that you're mentioning, small difference. Is it worth it? I mean, if you're rich and you just want to buy it, you can. The smoothie turned out way better than I expected. Okay, and I guess that's everybody's questions. So, all right, guys, thanks for all the thumbs up. Thanks for hanging out. I think I'm going to get rolling real soon. So if you have any last questions or something I didn't answer. But there are good waters. Somebody was asking about the healing waters in America. I've seen really good hot springs from Arizona, California, Washington, Oregon. What else? Those are the big ones, you know, along the West Coast and then headed off a little east. I haven't really done a lot of research on the far East Coast because I don't really spend a lot of time there. I'm not a huge fan of the East Coast either. That's just me. Oh, there you go, Colorado. Blah, blah, lovely. Yeah, there you go. And so, you know, hot springs. One of the problems that they're starting to do with a lot of hot springs is, can you believe that states and government are mandating a lot of times that you have to mix them with tap water? I'm like, what? So Innocent Star says, will you go on Jeff Mars again? I feel you have a lot more to say than what you shared. I do have a lot more to share, and possibly. He invited me to do a show just recently. I wasn't able to make it, actually. And then we might be doing one in about a week. Somebody says how to protect EMF in a house. You know, that's a good question. Let me grab more of the smoothie. Because protecting from, look, let me tell you something right now, guys. And this has to do with the whole Jeff Mara show and everything that everybody's asking about. And this is what I'm going to talk probably on the next show with him. So I don't want to like talk about too much about it because I'm sure he wants it on his show and all that. But I'm going to say certain things anyway, which is you have to take care of your body. Your body is under attack. It's like, this is a public broadcast warning. Your body is under attack. And by the way, from all angles, the water and air are always foundational. They've already attacked that. Your food, foundational. They've already attacked that. Your medicines, they've already attacked. I mean, guys, I'm sorry to tell you, they got you from every which way. So what you have to do, and again, even EMF. So this is what you can do. Whether you believe it or not, I'll show you where there's some proof, because you're going to be like, what? No way. Oh, yes, way. I've seen it. I already know it works. And that is, and I've repeated it a million times, hydrogen. So hydrogen is extremely protective for the body. This is the big secret. It protects you from radiation. It protects you from almost you name it. I'll give you examples. There's a video I have, video number 8. Go watch my video number 8 when we're done here. It shows cells being bombarded with radiation, and then the same thing, but they have hydrogen, same radiation, or even chemotherapy, stuff like that, and you'll see the level at which hydrogen is protecting the cells. The ones with no protection were having 90% damage. Imagine an item like a car having 90% rust. It's garbage at that point. That's why people feel so sick. They feel like they're dying. If you look, excuse me, when you look at the ones that got the hydrogen, they got 10% cellular destruction. That's so small compared to 90, guys. That's like having 10% of rust on your car. You can still drive your car like that. The car will still function. That is a massive protection. I don't know if you can even fathom. Think of a piece of wood that's 90% rotted. And think of a piece of wood that has 10%. It can still hold up the structure. Hydrogen is so magical. You want to protect yourself from EMF? Drink clean hydrogen water every day. You need to be hydrated anyway. It's good for you anyway. It's going to help. It helps so many things. It's so foundational. It's kind of like clean water. Clean water affects everything. And clean air too. So like when you're watering the crops with clean water, when you're drinking clean water, when you're making soups in clean water, everything with clean water. So I don't know if I'm answering that question, but that's because forget worrying about EMF, guys. It's everywhere. It's like you're not gonna escape the toxic soup you're in. I'm sorry, you're not gonna be able to. This is why you need to purify your water. You can at least do that. Thank God for that. You gotta, if you have a hydrogen generator, use it regularly. That is your protection. Super clean water, best hydrogen, and then if you have a clean diet, that's gonna be more. But that's foundation. So I hope that answers the question. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I hope it does. And somebody said, love you. Oh, thanks, Suzanne. That's kind of you. Yes, please. Jeff, yeah. Well, message him. Keep asking for me. He'll call me if they ask. Do we know who they is? Yes. I haven't revealed that yet because let me just say, how do I say this? I'm going to release it in the near future. It's going to make it extremely obvious. The truth is, people kind of have an idea, but a lot of people don't know. But I want people to see it for themselves. I don't want to just give people answers. I want them to think for themselves, find the answers for themselves, and you will, by the way, because I pointed out to a few close friends, and once I did, they were like, "Oh my God, I didn't even see that." They're like, and it's so obvious. And then they all said the same thing. You can't say that publicly. That's what they said. They said you can't do it. It's gonna get you. It's not gonna be good. And then that's the reason I hold back on stuff. But I think I'm gonna say, but it's got to be on a big platform. The more ears that hear it, the more protection I have. Small platforms are dangerous. Let's see. Christiana says the last video you may discuss what is going to happen next in the world. Do you believe we have any power to change the way things are going to go? You can have an influence, but you're not going to change what's coming. But you can make certain choices. And I'm going to talk about more of that on the next show with Jeff, actually. So good question. Blah, blah, lovely says, this may be off, but what do you think about baking soda, baths, or drinking? I like baking soda. There's many good things, good uses for it. Some people are saying they are taking a spoon full of water. Not sure if that's even healthy. Well, you want to get a good source. I don't think I would do it regularly, but it has its uses. Yeah, I mean, I don't use it regularly, but I have used it in the past. And I do think that there's some benefits to it. Some of them, I mean, some people say that, make cancer go away, but I never saw that work. Okay, I gotta go soon. Somebody says, let's see here. What about hydrogen water bought from the store? Blah, lovely, you're completely wasting your money. There's two things that you don't want to buy from the store, unless you have zero options. But water, don't buy it from the store. You always want to clean it yourself. Store-bought water, meaning all bottled water, guys, I hate to tell you this, look at the data out there, has the highest level of microplastics than anything you consume. And by the way, they're in everything. You want to clean the water yourself. And if you get a carbon distiller like the one that I have, it's actually going to be cheaper for you in the long term. It's more expensive initially when you buy it, but I already calculated it. Compared to store-bought bottled stuff, easily will pay itself off in 6 months. And I've been running this thing for years. It's a smart investment, and then you have actual clean water. Forget even the money. Even if it was more expensive to do it this way, it'd be better, but it actually ends up being cheaper. Kind of like taking care of your health. You may spend more in food and doing the right things, but then you don't have to pay the medical bills, which could just crush you. So that's the way that I live my life. That's the way I do things. I take, like I never paid for medical insurance. It was so expensive. I think they wanted like $500 a month. I'm like, forget it. I'll put the money away or spend it on things that are good for me. I don't say, look, remember, sometimes you need medical care, and I get that, but you make your choices. Most of the care that they would give me, I wouldn't even want. But once in a while, you need it. Sometimes you have a weird whatever, you need it. Okay. Yeah, but the hydrogen water from the store, in my opinion, it's a waste of money. Waste of money, garbage. Save your money, put it away until you can actually get a proper hydrogen generator. You can actually breathe the hydrogen, make the hydrogen right there, because hydrogen escapes so quick. You can't have it at the store sitting on a shelf. By the time you get it, I've seen them tested before and they virtually have nothing in them. It's just a waste. Okay, it's a gimmick at some point, in my opinion. Christiana says, are the most healing waters only from hot springs? Well, kind of. I mean, it depends on what you're looking for. Are you going to dunk? If you're looking to dunk your body, I mean, the ideal place, and I found one that I like. It's not in America though. And they have a natural hot spring, and then they have a natural cold spring. You can do the hots and the colds, and then they even have a sauna right there, all three, and it's awesome. If you don't have access, by the way, to hot springs, do saunas. Do saunas, drink clean water, and drink powerful, properly made hydrogen that you're using correctly. Those three things are so simple. And then go for at least a 30-minute walk every day. These are simple tips, simple things you can do. They're not crazy expensive, guys. People spend money. When I see how people spend money, and I mean, I'm not talking about anybody specific. I'm just saying that the majority, when I see how people spend money and then people complain about, I know a guy, I'm not going to name him. This guy's actually kind of wealthy, but he's stingy. Whatever, it's his life. He can do whatever he wants. He doesn't have a carbon distiller, but he loves to look at mine, and he loves this hydrogen I got, but he won't buy it for himself. And I'm like, guys, nobody lives very long. You have to realize this. You don't live very long. If you made it to 100, you're lucky, and 100's nothing. You want quality of life while you're around. Hey, that's going to be up to you, though. I'm just giving you my opinion. Thank you for all, Greg, says Prioria. God bless you. Thank you so much. May he bless you also, all of you guys. Okay, Not Work says, do you need to always make sure you are drinking H2 water on an empty stomach? You don't always have to, because this is not Kangen. If Kangen makes the water alkaline, that's a problem. It disrupts stomach acids. You don't want to do that, especially during digestion. If you happen to drink some hydrogen water and you have food in your stomach, think of it just like you're drinking water. You kind of don't really want to do that. This is what I mean about eating in order. I said this earlier. You always drink your water first, 20 to 30 minutes before a meal, because you want to get the body hydrated to prepare for digestion. If it's hydrogen water, even better. All right. Let's see. Okay, I gotta go soon, guys. Will enzymes help us break down microplastics? Yes. So a lot of fiber. It pulls it all out of your body, and a lot of proper clean hydrogen water. Do I need? Okay, I need to get a carbon distiller. You have a link somewhere. So I have links, but you just go to a website called mypurewater.com, and discount code, if you want one, is uprising144K. You get a discount, help support the channel a little bit, and that's all you need. And all their carbon distillers are good. You can just pick whatever one you want. They all do the same thing. They just have different options, kind of like cars. And let's see, last question. Hot Springs, Arkansas, sulfuric, Oklahoma. See, there you go. There's a lot of them, guys. They're all over the place. What I mean is that America doesn't value them, because if you go to Japan, they love them. They have these beautiful places that are extravagant, that have these beautiful springs. I mean, best in the world. I do not know of any place better than that place. Go Google it. Go look at hot springs in Japan. They call them onsens. Okay, I'm gonna go though, guys. That was your last question. I don't see anything else out there. Thanks for watching. I gotta go. See you guys next time.